The Los Angeles Chargers nailed the NFL draft, and it's what Chargers fans really were waiting for. The free agency was really kind of slow, and this rebuild and kind of the new energy really started with a good draft, and they absolutely nailed it. And then after the draft, undrafted free agent, they signed another wide receiver that we definitely want to take a look at. If you're new to the channel, we're Detroit Lions fans, but this channel is all about the LA Chargers, and we've had a lot of fun watching Jim Harbaugh go out to LA and really change the culture. A lot of energy. The social media team and for the Chargers is all over it, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. And we love Jim Harbaugh, so that's why we're making this channel and really having fun doing it. So just as a reminder, kind of where we're at. Joe Alt goes number 1, or goes number 5, first pick, perfect. Craig made a video. You can look on our channel for that, where he talks about why that was just absolutely the smartest thing. It's a core of your team. Don't try to get fancy right now. You're at the beginning of this thing. Build it the right way. Then you get Ladd McConkey, a really good separating type wide receiver. Junior Colson is a middle linebacker, absolute stud, 6'3", was just an anchor in that Michigan defense for the last 3 years. Then you get an Alabama guy, Notre Dame Cam Hart. I love that. Then Brendan Rice. Okay, so Brendan Rice and Cornelius Johnson. So we talked about the wide receiver room for the Chargers was just not good. Ladd McConkey, Rice, and Cornelius Johnson. And now you add another one in Jalen Johnson. And so let's take a look at him. Jalen Johnson right here, Eastern Carolina. 6'2", 194 pounds. He was actually at Georgia, got a scholarship there in 2020, played a little bit, but not enough, so he decides to transfer. So he's at Georgia, goes to East Carolina, and when he's at East Carolina, he's got decent stats, right? A few things. Doesn't really play in 21. 22, he plays and gets 26 receptions, doubles that in 2023. Couple touchdowns. He has 2 receptions in every game that he plays in the last 12 games. So why is this a big deal? I think you're getting a guy in Jalen Johnson that's got the size, the measurables to be depth and create competition in this wide receiver room. So I love that they drafted 3 wide receivers, added another as an undrafted free agent. And what are you looking for in a wide receiver? You see it now, or you see it clear as day if you are a Chargers fan. Quentin Johnston, he cannot separate, and it causes a big problem. So you want a guy in Jalen Johnson who's big enough, and you can find out, can he separate? Then Johnston, bye, because that's what you're looking for. Is you've created depth within the wide receiver room overnight through the draft. And again, if you look at Cornelius Johnson, so being a Michigan fan, here's the thing about Cornelius. Perfect. He is a 7th round pick. And yet the guy is a mystery because Michigan was so good running the football. And let me pull this up here. Michigan was so good running the football that Cornelius Johnson really wasn't used. When was he used and what was his best game? He had 2 touchdowns, 150 yards against Ohio State in 2022, I think that was, or 2022. At Ohio State, he went crazy in that game because Michigan decided to throw the football. Up until that point, they hadn't thrown the football because they didn't need to. They ran the ball. So to get Cornelius Johnson here with the 253rd pick, you add depth at the wide receiver position. Brendan Rice, steal in the 7th round, and Ladd McConkey. Though you don't want to go with 3 rookies as your 3 wide receivers, but you've just added competition. And now what you've said to the current guys that were there, you got to rise up or you're gone. You saw this with the Lions and Hard Knocks they drafted a 6th round linebacker that came in and stole jobs. And it raised the level of competition that following year. A lot of people don't realize this, but here was the existing guy there, Derek Barnes. Our 6th rounder came in and leapfrogged him. Derek Barnes then leapfrogged him this past year and made the interception in the playoff game against the Buccaneers to send the Lions to the NFC Championship game. So you get that leapfrog effect when you bring in competition and really good players. And so that's why I'm really excited to see if Jalen Johnson can do anything. It talks about how he started 11 out of 12 games. He had a pair of touchdowns in a couple different games. He caught a season high 8 passes and 105 yards against an opponent. He hauled at least 2 catches in all of 12 games. He was targeted 80 times. So here in 23, I mean, he played a lot and caught a lot of balls, scored some touchdowns. The production's not the thing. It's what you're hoping for with Jalen Johnson is, hey, you went to Georgia. He's good enough to play there. COVID, choppy little things, goes to Eastern Carolina. They don't go against the best competition, nor is he with the best teammates or what, to get those production numbers that you want. That's not what's important. He's 6'2". He's got the measurables, allows them to bring in a bigger wide receiver because Ladd McConkey is not the biggest. And you bring in that X wide receiver to go right up against Quentin Johnston. I mean, that's what I see with this. Put him on notice, and you added 4 wide receivers in this draft to really challenge that room when everybody was so concerned when Joe Alt went number 1 or went number 5, your first pick. That's how you build it. And again, I would love you should go back and watch Craig's video about why Joe Alt was the absolute right pick, because we've seen it play out with the Detroit Lions when at the beginning of their rebuild, we had a chance to take what's his name for the went to Cincinnati. The Bengals end up taking him. We're like, oh man, we could have had him. And then we get Penei Sewell. We get Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th round of that draft to really catapult this rebuild to what the Lions have today. Same thing for the Chargers. Do it the right way. Don't reach for these random pretty toys that are out there. Get Joe Alt. You can get wide receivers later. That's exactly what they do. They run their board perfect, and the Chargers even adding more after the draft. I absolutely love it. If you're new and you haven't subscribed, love if you subscribe to this channel because, again, it's an unbiased look into the Chargers franchise and what Jim Harbaugh's doing. We know Jim Harbaugh very well, and we know Junior Colson very well, and the rest of the Michigan guys that he picked up. Junior Colson, we did a video on this. Make sure you check that out. Is just, man, one of my all-time favorite Michigan players, and he didn't stand out at Michigan because there were so many standouts that he just was like another stud. But he's incredible and can't wait to see him at the next level. There's no way he fails in the NFL. Can't wait to see it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see all of you on the